Hello and welcome back to Ancorton Models TV, and today I'm going to show you how to put together the Lineside sleeper built building from Ancorton Models in 00 gauge. So let's get started. So first task with any kit is to find out what's inside. So let's have a little look at what we've got. So we have two frets, a small fret and a larger main fret, a piece of plastic tube, and we also have the all-important instructions. So I'll just have a quick scan through the instructions so I've got a bit of an idea of what we're doing, and then we can get on with the build. So reading through the instructions, it seems a fairly simple enough kit to build. You just got to make sure you get the right parts in the right place, which should be fairly obvious. So the first part we'll need is the back wall, which is part number one. And we're then going to need the two side walls as well. And watch out for the door being separate as well. So I'll just put the door to one side just so it doesn't get lost. And then that one needs those two. Should be those ones there. Right, so the first task is going to be to glue the two sides to the back wall. That's fairly simple enough to do. I'm just cleaning off the excess from the tabs there. So the glue I'm going to use today is Deluxe Materials Rocket Card Glue. I've used it for plenty of laser cut kits, and it's just a good all-round glue and ideal for wood kits and things like that. So with this kit we need to make sure that the sides go on the ends of the back wall, not on the inside of the back wall, otherwise the building will not be the correct length. So let's see about gluing this together then. On the whole, the rocket card glue is fairly fast drying, so it shouldn't take too long to do. And you don't need a vast amount of glue on it to hold it either. It will generally grab it fairly quickly. So once you've got those on there and it's all nice and flush, we can then get the front part, which is part 2, out of the fret, and then we can stick that in at the front to make up the square shape of the building. And just clean the tab pieces off. So let's put that in the front again, just making sure it's all square and lining up. Now what's probably going to be best is if I leave this to dry for a bit, just so that it's nice and solid for the next step. So the next task is to actually chamfer down the inside edge of the back wall, and that is so that the roof piece is going to fit on there nice and flat. It suggests to very carefully do it with the craft knife, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to guess that the side pieces probably actually all going to fall apart, but I'll see how I get on, and once I've chamfered it I'll update you to where we are. Okay, so as I expected, it did actually all fall apart. I've now glued it back together and I've left it to dry for a little bit of time. I've also cut the roof piece off. Now with the roof we need to remember to put the piece with the slot in line with the back wall when we put it on, and we want to try and get it as evenly spaced on top of the building as we can, but again making sure that that slot lines up nicely with the back wall. So let's put some glue on here. And see about getting it on. Like I say, just try and get it as accurate as you can, and just putting the roof on does strengthen up the building quite a bit, as it just helps hold everything nice and square. So I'm going to put that to one side to dry, whilst we have a look at the chimney which goes on the back. Now the chimney is pretty much all on the smaller fret, and it's got 3 main sides and a short stumpy side for the top, and then the 2 top decorative pieces, and obviously the little plastic piece for the actual chimney pot. So the idea is that you glue, basically you put it all together just following instructions. So there's 2, the pieces are fairly obvious, and they are numbered, so you just follow the instructions, and it should actually all interlock together quite happily. So let's just start with the 3 main pieces first. So 2 of the pieces will have a straight edge down one side on opposite sides, and the other side will be staggered. That is so that the brickwork can all be interlocked together, just like it is in real life. And you might find it's a little bit of a tight fit, and a bit of gentle persuasion to put it together will be required, no doubt. So all I'm doing at the moment is I'm just trying to literally just press it together. I'm not using any glue at all yet, just trying just to get it to go together, because it is a tight fit, and I think if I've got a load of glue in there as well trying to hold it, it's going to be a very sticky mess. It's going to make of me, my fingers, and the model as a whole. So I'm working it together, just gently pressing the 2 side pieces together there, just to get it interlocked nicely. Just working my way up and down it, bit by bit. This is a bit that they won't tell you in the instructions. So just do that, and you should end up with a fairly convincing looking 2 sides to the chimney there. So now we've got one side on. You can see about getting the other side on, which hopefully the same technique will work. Just easing it together, and this is one of the joys in some ways of a lot of the laser cut kits, is that for some parts they do slot together very nicely. These are rather tight on here, I will say. It is, It is going slowly, he says, as it comes apart. It's definitely easier to do this like this than it would be trying to do it on the rest of the model, because I think you really would struggle. Oh, I was pulled the other side off now. I suppose you could go down each individual brick course here and just open it up with a small needle file, which I think I might have to do for this, just to make life a little bit easier, because it is being a bit of a pain and not wanting to really go together. Let's just try laying it flat and wedging it together and then folding it. That might have worked better. So lay it flat, maybe not, and then force them in together. The more I work it, the more they are going in, believe it or not. It's just taking a little bit of time, and it is a little bit small and a little bit fiddly. Yeah. So do expect it to take a little bit of time when you come round to doing this particular part, but on the plus side it means that the building's got a bit longer to dry as well, without any pressure being put on it. Here we go, nearly there now. I think that is going to be the best I'm going to get that. So as you can see, I've now got a U shape for my chimney. So now the top piece on the inside needs piece number 9 going in, and this is where it could all now fall apart. Which will, but this should hopefully help make it go a little bit square and keep it square with any luck. Again, just work it in. Try and squeeze it in. There we go. That bit wasn't too bad actually. So now have a little chimney. So that should attach to the back of the building. I honestly thought it was going to be a bit taller than that. Just checking my instructions that I have actually made it right, and yeah. Yes. So that's a bit strange, because I would have thought that that would have come up to the top and been level. But it does seem to leave a big space at the bottom there. It seems a bit odd. But I suppose a feature. Strange one. Yes. So I think with that I'm going to actually glue mine a little bit higher, just so that the chimney is above the top of the roof, so it looks a little bit more correct. First I must remember to get some glue in the back joints. Try to use a slightly thinner applicator tool, I thought. Same on the back. So lining it up and just making sure the top of that chimney is there, so it just stands proud of the roof. So you can see it's just above the roof there, but at the bottom you can see that there is a little bit of a misalignment. I think that's just a manufacturing fault. It seems a bit strange really, but if you're putting this, when you're putting this on your layout, you should be able to put something at the back. You could probably make some rubble or some stone to go around the back, or build up with some sleepers or something to disguise that is slightly out there, which is a little bit of a shame, because I thought that would have been a bit better than that, but just one of those features, I suppose. So now that's on there, there's only really two more parts, which is the top of the chimney, which is made up of two parts. We've got part 11, which is the main top piece, which is a nice big flat square piece. So we can glue that on, nice and simple. Like so. Again, just making sure it's relatively square on there, so it sits nice. And then a smaller piece, number 12, which will fit in the middle of that, and in the where the little square is in the centre, we want the square of the chimney, this final piece, to sit as well. So just a little bit glue on there for that to sit on there. And hopefully that will stay and dry on there, it should do. But this needs a little bit longer to grab it. So I'm going to let that dry for a minute before I fit the actual chimney pot, which is made up of the little bit of tubing we have, and it's quite long. It's just over a centimetre, about a centimetre long. So I'm just going to cut that down, probably about half the height of that, so that it's about 4 foot high or something like that, 4.5 foot high, as a chimney pot doesn't need to be a massive sort of 8 foot high pot. So we'll do that in a minute. Okay, so now that's dried, I've trimmed down my chimney piece. It's about 6mm long, which is about 18 inches in 00 scale. And all it needs to do is that just needs to sit inside the top, or to sit on top of the centre of the chimney part there. Right, it is a little bit wide to fit in the actual hole, which is a bit of a shame. So I could very carefully trim a little bit off the bottom of the tube just with a knife, just to slim it down a bit, just so it sits in it, and it's going to be a little bit more secure than otherwise. So just see if it will just pop in there, which it now will, and it'll still sit flat, so that should be fine. So I can fill the centre of that with some glue. Again, the rocket car glue will be fine for this. And dried up. So let's just give it a natural. Bit of glue in there. Make sure that's flat. And then pop it in the top. So we've got our chimney pot on the top there. So the only thing left to do is to fit the door, which you may remember slid out of the fret earlier. This obviously gives you the opportunity to have the door modelled open, or you can have it modelled shut. For me, because this is going to be part of the exhibition stand, I'm actually going to glue it back in place so it's closed, or might have it slightly ajar just so it's visible as a door, but it's entirely up to you how you do it. But that is essentially the build completed. So there we are, that's how to put the Lineside building together from Ancorton in 00 gauge. It is a nice little kit to build. It's one I've been wanting to actually put together for a while, because we've obviously stocked the kit for a good number of years. It is a shame that the chimney is just a little bit too short. Like I say, it could be disguised around the back once it's in a setting, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Other than that, it goes together pretty well, as you've seen. With a little bit of patience and effort, it will work. So anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, do please give it a good old thumbs up. Also make sure that you hit that subscribe button as well, because that really does help us out. And until next time, happy modelling!